Yo, 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 what's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good evening, Derek. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. And what's up, Harukanen? Hope you had an amazing weekend as well. Soon indeed. I needed to get my coffee and nicotine in place. Okay, so if I remember correctly, we are currently implementing some monster logic, or we're extending the monster logic system. We're working on a few different aspects of it, like attribute modifier, new actions, as well as some AI system. Yes. Harukanen, it's a little bit of an on and off thing to me. So I have some period on, some period off. You know how it is. Are you still off it? Okay, let's see here. So we did idle. What's the last thing we implemented, I think? But we don't have it here just yet. Focus, inspect, move rigid body. Okay. So let's take a look. Harukanan, that's mighty strong of you, honestly. Fuck, it feels like it's an extremely tough habit to kick. But yeah, maybe soon again I will I will get on the wagon. So let's just see. Add action, idle, editor node, and idle runtime node. It's these two I want to double check here. On define options, energy drain modifier internal name. Looks pretty good to me. So let's do okay. And then we have an energy drain modifier, and this might be attribute modifier, editor node, modifier runtime node. So how far did we get on this one? We have a attribute definition, modifier type, delta time internal. Yeah, that seems good. Min max. Attribute based value is probably not what we want to output. Harukanan, so you're saying you tried quitting? Like, honestly, I think last time I quit, I went close to 1 year without it. And the time before that was 1.5 years. And then something happens, and I feel that I need extra boost. And yeah. Attribute modify runtime node. I'm pretty sure we want this one to be... not attribute-based value, but attribute modifier. Honestly, Harukanen, I'm not gonna argument against that. I think that's correct. The overall stress gets higher, but you have these nice moments during the day. Overall, a net negative 100%. Yeah, but what I found is, like, it's this weird thing that it feels like you always need to have, let's see what we want here, energy. It feels like the number of addictions you have is constant. You just trade one for another, if you know what I mean. Let's go 1 second here, and I don't know, a value of 0.1, 0.2. And then we bring that one in there. And I think that's all the setup we need. Summan av lasten är konstant. Indeed, indeed. I guess you need to pick like the addictions that are the least harmful and most positive life. I just want to double check that everything looks correct in the runtime node as well. We don't do... we create the attribute modifier here. Yeah, the oxygen addiction. I haven't tried quitting that one just yet. Is it smart to create it here? I think maybe. And then we get it here. Okay, let's see what kind of result we get from this. We get some errors. That's not good. But yo, we get it in something we haven't touched right now. But let's see here. In our blob, what do we have? Action list, focus, inspect, action, move, rigid body. Okay, we don't have idle just yet. So that's one thing. Agent notification pool. What? I'm gonna assume this one is because of focus setup. Yeah, this is not what we want to do. Okay, let's see here. Energy drain modifier, we get that one. Animate entity, we get that one. And then we have add action. Action idle. We create it like this. Looks good, looks good. So the only thing we need to do, I guess, is... yeah, it's this question of if we want to have action star set up or if we want to skip that whole thing. But for this one, I would like to do it idle, and then we do energy drain modifier and animate entity. And then we add it. And then I'm gonna hope that the error we got was from some null value in action idle. Unfortunately not, but now we have idle here. That's good. Idle, 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 idle. We haven't really added any logic to idle, so the blob never idles, or like no logics as to when we should do it and so on. And I think this is the first time we're gonna try more than one action running at the same time. But this issue right here, on enable, we get an error here. We do instantiate them. Yeah, we don't get any notifications. Oh, yeah, we made some changes to this one as well, didn't we? Pool gets instantiated. We try to instantiate agent notification bubble prefab, which should be set. Agent notification bubble. Yes. We did some changes here. I think we changed this one, displayable message, didn't we? Do we get on enable in this case? That would suck. Although I wonder why this error wasn't the case previously. Or why it didn't pop previously if this is the case. Okay, that seems to be it. Nice. We still don't get any messages though. Yo, what's up, Sam Smite? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I got off nicotine very easily, but quitting caffeine is almost impossible for me. Everyone's different, I guess. Yeah, 100%. Like, it would be amazing to have, like, no addictions at all, but I mean, caffeine... Do you want to get off it? What's up, Funbjörg? Yeah, I'm Swedish, and do you code a lot with AI? Not that much. Like, I try to incorporate it more and more, but I'm moving a little bit slowly towards it. Okay, so what I wonder here is... We're not getting any... Character 1, active actions, focus, inspect. It feels like... I code too much with AM and I'm a little cooked. I guess there's a balance there. I want to be in the middle of it. Like, I've had on my to-do for a while now. Try some agentic workflows, just haven't been bothered with it yet. Yeah, like, that's the position I don't want to end up in, you know? But I'm probably a little bit too scared. Let's see. So we do have active actions. I'm just not getting outputs I would like to see here. And actually here we have two active actions at the same time, so it's not the first time. Okay, let's see. Agent. Okay. Agent instance. Or I want to go to action. It feels like I quit at the wrong point last Tuesday. I don't remember the last thing we did. Agent. On notification, on parsing agent. Parse agent message, yes. We don't really do this yet. And we need to do this one. So let's see. Parse agent message, yes. So the problem I was wondering about, do we want action to be agent message sender? I'm be sure. Or iAgent system, I guess it is. Or do we want to let the action handler be it? I think at the end of yesterday or Tuesday stream, I chose to make action be iAgent system. Björg, it's not a good feeling knowing I have something I can't maintain without paying for a service for the rest of my life. So my goal now is just to upskill. Having access to agents for me feels like eating vegetables with a bowl of candy in front of it. I guess... Fucking, I'll just use the agents to, like, do a very, very nice write down of the system itself. That should help at least. On agent message, and what I want to do here is parse agent message. Yeah, we want to work with this one much more. iAgent system. While it was making features, I was gaming. Yeah, I tried to make a habit of like work heavily with pull requests and review it thoroughly before you merge. But just a thought of merging stuff onto main that I don't fully know what it is doing is like sending shivers down my spine. Having a code base I don't know anything about sounds like a nightmare. I want to see if we were to do event. Message. Let's see here. How do we want to do this? On parsing agent message. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the way I want to do it. I just want to double check. What do we have? Action handler and attribute handler and action. Okay, that's beautiful. So action, and here we're gonna add, hopefully what we're adding now will replace all of these eventually. Oh, spawn agent message. Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah, honestly, it's very impressive. The agents. I have this very simple UI based game I want to try and implement mostly with agents. I just haven't gotten around to it. Yo, what's up, PG King? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Did you watch the International? I did watch TI. Nice. Same here. Same here. Or I watched some of the group stage matches, and then I watched the upper bracket upper bracket final, I guess it is. And of course the final. Yeah, the grand final was very good. Like, I was rooting for, let's say, so I say these correct. I was rooting for Team Vision. Honestly, mostly because, like, I've been following Puppey a lot. And the last pick, Juggernaut, in the last game, I don't know. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. No complaints. As for how the matches in the grand final played out. Will this game be better than Pokemon? Honestly, it will be different than Pokemon. That's all I can say. As to if it's going to be better, I have no idea. Probably not, but we'll see. It's different, it's different. So what I want to do here is, I think, agent message action. What did we have? Previous state, current state, type, attribute modifiers. We need to send the attribute modifiers, so I'm wondering, how do I want to set this up? I mean, we can start by doing spawn agent message, I guess. Oops, new agent message. Type state, new state. The only thing I worry about here, though, is, oh yeah, we want to do new agent message. That's how we named it. PG King, to be honest, the two best carries were against each other. Yatoro and Satanic are insane. Satanic is pretty damn young as well, right? Yatoro is young as well, with 3 TIs in wins. Now that's insane. Yeah, I don't think they could have done anything differently. Like, hoping for or relying on the Juggernaut RNG to an extent sucks. Fanbjörg, I'm also making a creature collecting game with a mate, but it's very similar to the old Pokemon games because nostalgia. Nostalgia is a pretty good motivator. Yeah, PG King, I saw something similar. Someone said that an Aghanim might have changed things. Yeah, we want to do dot invoke here, I thought. Action, action, action. Yeah, on agent message, I don't want to use this one actually. So let's see what errors we get from this. It's Monday, it's a little bit slower. Let's see. Spawn agent message. Yeah, might need to spell this one correctly. Okay, so this is how we're gonna start this, I think. So, actions are an agent system. The only problem right now, though, then is we're gonna have to do for each action. Yes, we're gonna do this. We're probably gonna change, we're gonna do some changes here. Yeah, we want to add this one as well. And we're gonna wait with this. Fanbjörg, I can't say. I don't know how similar they are. But yeah, Nintendo usually, like, even if it is non-profit, they usually go after it. Honestly, I think the 10-year-old defeating 8 gyms and becoming the champion that's probably okay. Okay, there's a lot of changes and a lot of old code in various places here, but this is probably correct. Let's see if we have some errors. Action handler, we're gonna skip this one here for now, and same in attribute handler for now, that is, and just see if this works. And then we're gonna add it back with the new implementation. It's a much more like unified system. Streamlined is probably the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just look at Pal World. I have this feeling that Pal World is pretty much as similar as Pokemon you can get without worrying about the legal stuff. They are right at the line there at certain aspects. Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It's a big team these days. And then we have the playable issue. Which I wonder if it's just a reload issue. Spawn agent message. Yeah, honestly, I feel the same way, PG King. Like, the fighting in Pokemon games has never been like the main, what I like the most about them. The fighting is probably the I've always enjoyed more like collecting and taking care of them. Basically, you haven't been able to take care of them that much in old school Pokemon games. Okay, this one bothers me. I know that we have had a similar problem before. And I reckon... So spawn agent message here. Let's rename it. Ah, there we go. It doesn't seem to get properly instantiated this way, which sucks with the playable actions that is. Oh, yes. This is also one of those things that's gonna be changed eventually. PG King, yeah, I want to be a friend to the creatures I collect and understand them, not make them fight. 100%. 100%. Okay, that's better. Ooh. Although Processing, initializing. Unfortunately, we don't have it for our playable character, which sucks. Movement, initializing. Movement available, finishing, processing. Three messages for this. Finishing to available. Okay, we're going processing, finishing, finishing available, available ready. Guess that's okay. And then the big question is, why don't we see it on the player actions? Well, let me change this one back. We don't see it for the player because it actually has an agent instance. Start. Yes. The order of things. You know what? Let's see here. Agent instance, animate entity. I don't like how these are working in parallel. Or the current way they are working in parallel. Or there really just is one issue here, and that's the instantiation of the action handler and when it happens. Because what I worry here is that for creatures that are being instantiated and generated at runtime, the what should we refer to it as, like the instantiation pipeline works. Everything is instantiated in order. But for the playable entity, we currently have a little bit of a... things gets instantiated in a non-optimal way or order. And I hate that this even is a problem. I like much more if we could rely on, much like we have here with animate entity, like that we have one super component and everything points towards the fact that it should be agent instance in this case, but we have a lot of entities which rely on a lot of instantiations. But honestly, why should even base update? I think action handler... sounds like something I would... Ooh, you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe we should just have static entity and dynamic entity. And if we add an agent instance... Ooh, but like the agent instance will have... if we add an agent instance to a dynamic entity, that will pretty much make it animate and animate. I think that's the way to go. But that's just a thought right now. I'm gonna need to think about it a little bit longer before I implement it. So what can we do in the meantime? We could just put this off for a sec, which is a lazy route. Is it? No, it isn't. Don't we have... What? Oh, did I screw it up? Collections generic. Yeah. What? And that one is correct, but this one, are we seriously getting a... Namespace conflict here. Hmm. What's up, Aito? Let's see. Um, I'm just perplexed by this issue because why have I never gotten this conflict before? One sec. Okay, back. Fuck it, let's see if it works. I'm still a little bit... Okay, beautiful. But this is definitely too much messages. Or this is definitely too much messages to display. I think, yes, PG King. It's a little bit... how should I put it? It reacts to a little bit too easy to Steam. Okay, let's see here. So as for the agent system, I definitely want all of these messages to be sent back and forth. So like focus, finishing to available, inspect, and so on and so on. Definitely. But I don't want to display all of them. I want to console log them all, but I don't want to display them in game world. So let's add some very simple filtering system here. I've talked about adding, and I also don't want to show, if we have 0 attribute modifiers in our action state change, I don't want to add it to the string, but I've talked about having a, like, we're gonna have a priority system to our agent messages because we want to sort them, right? But I also want to have not only a priority system, but I also want to have a maybe like importance. So like let's see here. Message, message, message. I want to have message. But then again, I'm wondering, like, message priority. Probably want that one as a... I want more resolution to my message priority than low, medium, high. I think I even want higher resolution than 5 or even 7. And I'm wondering if I want... I just want to have it as a float. And then we can have message importance. Maybe. Yeah, low, medium, high. And then I wonder if we can have... not float, but int. problem is so, for instance, going to available or ready. Or I would say pretty much everything except for processing. Going to processing or going from processing is of high importance. How do I want to translate it from here? Yeah, I mean, we could pepper this within the switch cases, but that doesn't feel... That would give us more control for sure, but... let's ignore priority for now. Priorities, that's just gonna be for importance. Yeah, I guess we could do medium, medium, medium. That's our default. In these cases, so let's see here. We're going from processing to finishing. We set the new state, invoke on process change, and then we do finish. And then return set state. Yeah, then we're not gonna... The early returns here are bothering me a little bit. Could also handle it within the message itself, but then we're taking some of the action logic and moving it to the message. I don't know if I like that. I'm just thinking about how and where this filtering should take place. Let's say it's pretty easy, or it's pretty clear to me that, like, I want to define it as processing, like going to or from processing. Highly important. We want to display that. It's just a question of, I mean, we could do, in agent instance, we have parse agent message, and then we do have spawn displayable message. So in spawn displayable message, we just want to filter here if the message itself isn't of importance enough, then we don't spawn the displayable message. But unfortunately, we have some early returns here. Otherwise, I mean, okay, we not only do we have early returns here, but that's okay. But then we have return set state. Maybe, I mean, we could move. This should be set state. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, 100% PG King. I love it. Sometimes it still fucks up pretty badly, but that's minor compared to what you gain from it. Why am I having such a hard time just translating state to importance here? I guess it's new state we want to base it on. I mean, we could. This one knows pretty much about, knows a lot about. Maybe we should filter it here. Previous state, current state. Or we just do. We do some state methods here. Crucial state changes. No. Or agent instance, parse agent message, action message. Maybe filter it here, actually. And like the idea is that, yeah, currently we're just calling this one and we're executing the message instantly. But we're probably gonna have a sorted list here of messages. So the frame, or yeah, during one frame of an agent, all of the systems will do what they do and spawn a lot of messages which will be sent to agent instance. They will be put into a queue and sorted based on priority and importance. And then after all of those, we start like iterating that queue in order. I think okay, for now, I think we can do you know what? Yeah, this also doesn't feel that nice. But honestly, spawn displayable message. That will get rid of a few, but like I'm not that confident in the way of doing it like this. I mean, if we were to have text really takes up too much space, but I guess it's okay. Duration per character is what we're running with right now. Yeah, which means that they don't appear. Physics. Yeah, lifetime here. Yeah, we will need to fetch this one. So if every bubble has a dynamic lifetime decided by the number of characters, which seems to be a little bit short currently. Or we could just agent message, agent notification bubble. This one could just have a reference to it actually. And set the lifetime here. That might be the best way to do it. But also have this. I want UI elements of this type to be... So a UI element should be able to have only this one. But if it has this one as well... Yeah. But that should be it for like the displayable bubbles. Now we should be able to move back into idle, make idle work. So idle is like a type of action. It's a type of action that always wants to be active, or if the agent doesn't have anything else to do, that's the action it's gonna fall back to. Pretty much. Yo. Oh. Yeah. World. Okay, so what I would like now is, so like when movement goes from processing to finishing and it doesn't have anything else to do, that's when idle will step in. The question is, agent instance, and it's the agent instance that will take care of this. And that also tells me that agent instance should... Fuck, do I want to move animate, the animate entity logic and the playable entity logic into... Is it time to just move it into agent instance? And then merge... Yeah, maybe. Because when we think about it, attribute action handler, yeah, we want the agent instance to have direct access to action handler. One sec, be right back real quick. Okay, back. Sorry about that. Let's see. So, yeah, what's up, Star Trail? So, 100% that like action handlers should be in agent instance, and I think finally, the more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards this right here. Because what agent is, or agent instance, it's gonna be the communicator between state components and do components. And so what I mean is, like, we're gonna have like attribute handler, maybe even, yeah, attribute handler, and I don't know, relation handler, components like that are gonna send messages at all time, which the agent is gonna parse and then decide what to do based on those messages. It makes so much sense. Let's see, agent instance. But I'm also wondering a tiny little bit about... So if we take the action of idle, for instance, it feels like pretty much every other action is gonna need some signal that it should be start processing. While idle should be like the fallback action. But or in some ways, the agent is actually the action handler, I would say. think so. Is there really a need for this one? We're gonna do this for now. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Skafer? Why is it that in August I'm always losing my mind? I think there's a lot of people asking themselves that question. Summer is over. Vacation is over. I try to always like start anew after summer. It's a perfect time for new routines and stuff like that. Or something. So, as I see it, Agent Instance, this one should... here. Escape for people only make my life more miserable. Tried upgrading my Godot version from 4.6 to 4.7 and my project lost around 10 to 15 FPS, so I decided not to. Any pointers to what could be the cause of it? Because that sounds... that's a big drop. What are some of the new features with the 4.7, do you know? Okay, so the more I think about this, the more I think it's time for one... a little bit of a cleanup and rework here, but I'm thinking of doing it off stream. Like, the entity system has been good, but I want to make it a tiny bit more modular, I think. But let's work with what we have right now. So agent instance. Eventually we're gonna have, so we're gonna get some agent notification or agent messages here from like the attribute handler and some other stuff, which will prompt some actions. I wonder if we can start by doing it as easy as, let's see here. Agent message. Gonna have importance priority. We don't use them right now, but we're gonna have public enum message. I want to say type. But okay, let's start in the other end and see. Because when like some of the messages are going to be like are going to prompt a reaction, and some of the messages are, or most, some of the messages are just going to be stat update, that sort of stuff, while some of them are going to be like process types. So I'm thinking of doing, let's see. Okay, is it time to finally add the goal? Maybe. Let's see. Scafey, yeah, and it is a drop with VSync. I thought maybe it could be the new area lights feature, but then I found a PR that fixes the performance when you don't use area lights. Okay. And I'm having a creative crisis, not in general, but with my project, lost at what I'm trying to make. Oh, I get that. Fuck, that's relatable. I think it's important to have like something akin to least viable product. So like look at the game you're trying to make or wanting to make, and then you just strip it of everything until it's just a very basic game. And then you focus on that. Does that make any sense? But you always have this idea, like it's going to become bigger eventually. But having like a clear, basic, achievable goal usually helps me. So let's do something basic like, let's see. Goal. So if we define goals from attributes, I think that's a good idea. I.e., one goal being like keeping hydration over 50%. Like for me, it's still a little bit early to fully define the goal structure, but I want to implement some simple communication here now, and introduce like the fallback action and stuff like that. Oops. I've started gluing together all the systems to see what I have as a whole piece, because it feels like it's a bit too much to have so many systems just being there. That's exactly the same position I'm at right now, and that's what I'm trying to do here, gluing them together. So I get it 100%. Like, it would be nice to have, you have all of these different systems, you have them like 80-90% done, and then you start gluing them together and just see how they work together. And then you can return to the ones that needs work. Well, that's my current idea, at least. Okay, but let's add a simple goal here. And then we can make them more complicated as we go. So let's make them extremely simple. Agent. How we want to do it. Scafer, I'm also super anxious about my music being released in an update for Moldwasher. What if it's bad? What if it's good? What if the dev forgets to put it in the game? Yeah. Congrats, by the way. I think that's pretty nice. did we have compare? Public attribute definition. We can keep it simple right now. It's pretty much always going to be attribute based, I suppose. But then we want to have compare type as well, which I thought we had. Maybe not. Is that something we want to implement as a maybe? Pretty basic. And then I would also like to have priority. Priority is also something we probably could move to something more general eventually. Or what is the word for it? Agency. That makes me wonder if goal priority. Yeah. Hmm. And always like it feels like it's always a question of like, Okay, let's take action handler, for instance. Do we really need a separate component or class or action handler, or should we just keep it in agent instance? And the same with something like goal handler. It all comes down to like how much work will eventually be happening there. For now, agent systems. Something simple like that. And then of course we want to add goals as well. And I want to do it in like I want to add the goals graph by graph, because that is eventually what's gonna define the full creature. Do we add attributes, actions, interactions? Animate. Yeah, this is where we add it. We're probably gonna add it creature as well, honestly. Do we want that component? I don't think so. I don't think so. Scafer, like stairs handling, that's something I find. The idea of implementing it both excites me and bores me, you know. It's just something with the inverse kinematics of it, if you want it to look real good, you know. That's very exciting. But then also implementing it by, you know, having every stair being two colliders, one ramp and one step based. It's a little bit ugly at the same time. Okay, I think we're gonna add nodes for adding an agent, I think. At least if we want to add goals. Ooh, the problem is as well, like the latest Unity update has some pretty nice things for graph. Lists, for instance, I think that would be extremely useful now. I'm also wondering how we could put the goals here actually. Or I mean in nah. We're gonna put it here. Okay, for now we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna have an add goal. To an animate entity for now, or no, I think okay, we're gonna have a goal handler. And for now, let's handle it pretty in a simple way. But Skafer, no, I didn't have the time to after last stream. I still have the link here. I'm gonna check it out after the stream. Do you think I would ever watch it without parting it? Then again, when I see this goal handler mono behavior here, it's a little bit over the top. Fuck, can we simplify this now? I don't wanna go too deep into the goal implementation since we're gonna do some rework with animate entity and stuff like that. But I want to be able to specify some of them easily. There's so many thoughts right now in all directions. I think it's time to Okay, you know what? I really need to make sense of all this. So I think we're gonna quit 30 minutes early today because I really need to go back to the design document and just make sense of it. It's a lot of systems working weirdly here. Yeah, I know. Hopefully I will get back tomorrow with a clearer plan here, because right now I have like 10 separate ideas and I don't really know which of them to pursue. So I'm just afraid that it's going to be a lot of jumping around in the files, making sense of it. I'd rather come back tomorrow with a clear plan. But I will be back tomorrow, hopefully with a clear plan, or yeah, I will have one, so we can do some actual work. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and have a great rest of the Monday, this Monday, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Peace.